Right, so welcome to, this would be part 15 of the sampler interface tutorial. We're getting deep into controllers here. There were a couple supplementary videos in there dealing with capacitive sensors and push buttons, etc., etc. Now, in this tutorial, we're going to combine the two different types of sensors. So I've gone ahead and done that. I've kept my old, it's kind of a mess here. It's a bit of a hornet's nest there. But I have kept my capacitive sensor um, rig, and you'll just have to look back on that video to see what that was. Using pins 6 through 9 there, 6 for the collective send pin, and 7, 8, and 9 for the 3 different capacitive sensors. They're off camera right now, but trust me, they're there. And then I've just hooked these buttons up, these switches here, to the same hookup as just the switch button tutorial, the standalone. So you can see there, I don't know if you can see it, I have my ground rail there out to the ground rail, and then here, over here, the 3 grounds to one side of each of the buttons, and then they take up pins following this red wire 2 through 2, 3, and 4. So 2 to the first button, this black one, 3 to the second button, and then that red one, this long red one, 4 to the last button there. Okay, so just combine that in a single circuit. And now let's take care of the software. So if we get this is from the capacitive sensor tutorial, the multi-capacitive sensors, where we have 3 of them. And we're just going to copy that code over to this is the last we had for the multiple buttons one, the multi-buttons with the arrays and such. So first thing we have to do, we're just going to copy it over whole hog. Let's copy the library import over. Okay. And then we'll copy all these variables here, the 3 capacitive sensor pin variables and the 3 gates. We'll pop that there. And you can label these if you want, however you want. It could get, the more sensors we add, it could get a bit confusing and complicated. And then we're going to pop over the 3 capacitive sensor value variables there. And we'll do that at the very top of loop. Nothing extra anyways to go into setup. Okay. And then we'll grab all this code here that does the if statements. Now the only thing I've updated, well, I'll update it over there, is I just want them to be pure switches. So all the way down to right before the delay, the 3 buttons, the 3 capacitive sensor switches, the on and then the off, and then the on, the off for 2, and the on, the off for 3. Okay, let's copy those over. And I guess I'll just put them at the end here before the delay. Okay. So the only thing I want to change in the capacitive sensing code is we were printing to the serial port the actual value of the capacitive sensor. And I'm going to replace that one with a 1 and a 0. 1 for on and a 0 for off. And I'll go ahead and do that all the way down the line here. For number 2, 1 for on. Oh, this is 1. 1 for on and a 0 for off. And then the last switch, 1 for on and a 0 for off. Okay, so that should do it. So if I save that and if I upload that code to my my Arduino, and if I just look at the serial monitor first, we see that there's my capacitive sensor, there's my number 1, 2, and there's my number 1 capacitive sensor, and my 3 buttons, BT2, BT1, and BT0. So there's a slight bit of potential confusion because I started labeling my capacitive sensors from 1, 2, and 3. But if we keep track of that, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, we'll close that. We know that works. That's fantastic. We'll save that. Now let's go ahead and update the processing code. I don't think I have processing open yet. So remember, we're using processing as the go-between for between Arduino or the physical controllers and the sound or Super Collider. See if we have something recent. I already have one set up for 15, but this is the code we left off of on 14. All right, and if you recall, we have this serial port coming in, and then we have a number of sections that deal with button 0, button 1, button 2. If I recall, I made button 0 turn record on and off for track 1, and button 1 record on and off for track 2, okay, and button 2 just toggle the play. So why don't we have our 3 physical buttons, our little tactile clicky buttons, just turn record on and off for the first 3 tracks. All right, so we'll just update this to say rectogs, and it'll be 2 because it's the 3rd track, right? And same here, rectogs 2. Okay, and then rectogs will 2 equals 1. We will rec on 0, else rec off. And not 0, it's actually track 3 or 2, the 2th track. Okay? So that's the 3 buttons will deal with recording, toggle recording on and off for the top 3 tracks. And then we're going to copy just this code essentially. Let's see where that if ends there. Okay? And it's all Eno available, and if serial on, and this is for it's going through these all of these things, right? Yeah, and I think last time I said I might not needed that for loop, but I'm just going to leave it for now. Okay, so it's still all within that for loop. Okay, so we're just going to copy this where it says bt2 to the end of the if, and sort of modify it a little bit. We'll see CS. And remember, we started numbering from 1, and that is a little bit confusing, but that's okay. So if we say if empty2 0, and remember that's the label or that's the header, equals CS1. Now, because that is what we're sending here. We're sending the first one, CS1 colon. Okay. So if it equals CS1, then we're going to toggle play with the 3 capacitive sensors. Let's do that. So say play togs, and then it'll be 0 because it's track 1. So let's copy that play togs over for all these, and then play tog 0 again, and it will add this empty2 1, which is just a 1 or 0. So it's a good thing we changed the Arduino code to reflect that 1 or 0. And then play togs 0 equals 1. We will play 0, play track 0, right? And that's that function, if you recall. We had a play function, play, and then the track number, and it sends the message to Super Collider. Okay, so let's find our way back up here. So that's CS1. Play togs 1 is going to play 0 equals 1, else play pause, and then it's still track 0. Or the first track. Okay. Now we can just copy that for the other 2 buttons. So this probably is an easier way to do it because we have so many different sensors and such. However, it might take a little bit of architecture redesigning this. So it's just a bit verbose, but that's okay. The code will be all right. So we have now CS2, and then we'll just deal with track 2, or the 1th track. Change that play togs to 1, play togs 1, and play track 1, pause track 1. Okay, and again CS2 will be the 3rd track or the 2th track. Change that to CS3. CS3, I'm sorry, this is CS3. Remember that I knew that would bite me in the butt. The bad sort of numbering 1, 2, 3 instead of 0, 1, 2. But we've come this far, so we'll just have to deal with it. Now, this is play togs 2 for the 3rd track. Play togs 2, play togs 2, and play track 2, or 3rd track, the 2th track, and pause 2. All right. So we're going to save that and run that, and then let's see if that works for us. So if I start with my record buttons, that records track 1. Let me see if you guys are looking, if you're actually seeing it. Yeah. Let me just, I'll come right back. Have a sort of wider view here, and that's button 1, record, button 2, record, on and off, toggle recording, and this should be toggle play and pause for 2, play and pause for 3, and play and pause for 1. There we go. Okay, well, that wasn't hard at all. All right, so very simply, we just combined, just as a review here, we combined all of our code from the 2 different Arduino patches, the multi-button patch and the capacitive sensor, multiple capacitive sensor patch. Really, we just copied all this capacitive sensor business over to our multi-button thing and then saved that and then loaded that to our Arduino. And then we updated our processing code. And we still haven't tested it with SuperCollider, but it is sending the proper message, so I'm sure it will work. Maybe next time we'll do that. And we just, this is the sort of routine we will follow as we add sensors and such, and the more things we want to do. You might not even want to do this, but this just gives you an idea of the type of things you can do. Updated our buttons so that the 3 will record, toggle recording for the first 3 tracks. And then we updated our code here for the capacitive sensor, so they will toggle play and pause for the first 3 tracks. Okay, well, good luck with that. It's good to make some progress there. I think we'll continue to deal with some more sensors and see if we can get some different things going on with them.